All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the world. I guess I probably should have gotten my Twitch stream up like a streamer and actually respond to comments. So I'll do that in a minute. But hello, my name is Ali Young. I am the Chief Revenue Officer for the gamehers, which is the largest community for women in the gaming space. And I am here today with just some incredible women who are doing incredible things. And so I am super excited. Rebecca Dixon, our CEO and founder, has been hosting our PinkPixels episodes and has been directing amazing conversations. And so I have some very big shoes to fill in the next 60 minutes. Also, I could probably talk to each of these women alone for hours and hours on end and have some amazing content for you. However, I have 60 minutes. So, without further ado, I am going to just jump right in. Today, our amazing guests, I am going to just kind of run through, forgive me, making sure that I have all the right. Carla Harris with TikTok. She is the Global Gaming Business Marketer and GTM Manager. Jessica Murray, CEO of Wicked Saint Studio. Carmen DeMitt, Senior Talent Acquisition Specialist with Shell Games. Mariam Nusrat, founder of Brushnet.io. Senka Filipovic. Gosh, please tell me I did not say that wrong, Senka. Did I do that right? Okay, amazing. With the World Food Program USA, she's the Director of Corporate Partnerships for Tech and Gaming. And last but not least, and definitely saving the best for last, Susanna Pollock, President for Games for Change. So first and foremost, you are now on the stage, and what you all are seeing and who you're with today are some of the amazing people who have won the 2025 Trailblazers Award for the Gamers Awards. And these are folks who are just making incredible change and making such an impact in the world of gaming that we all live and breathe. So without further ado, I would love to, after this episode, we'll share everybody's LinkedIn profiles and all of the things that we're going to talk about. But in the meantime, I have some really cool questions that I want to ask these folks. And so bear with me. We're just going to jump right into that. And I'm going to start with Carla. On TikTok, amongst other things, I was just sharing, I just watched an amazing TikTok that Carla made about talking about how these designer places and with designer clothes are not made for curvy women like myself. However, that's another conversation and probably a fashion conversation that we'll have later. But amongst other things, you talk about burnout and boundaries and brilliance, and I want to get really deep today. So, how do you bring that same fire into shaping gaming content globally?
So firstly, I want to say that wrap up, I'm gonna steal it and put it on my TikTok because you make it sound like my TikTok is massive. Guys, my TikTok is tiny. So Ali, thanks for watching it. I think the core thing is, and of course, take it with a pinch of salt because I do work for TikTok, is it's about inspiring that creativity and bringing joy. And it's about sharing those stories. And that's how that fire spreads because one TikTok about your favorite game, Tiny Glade, one TikTok about something you're stuck on or playing, can bring about a community for that game, but also for you to find and engage with each other. So it's not necessarily about how do we force these conversations or force them to happen, but how do we find each other? So searching those hashtags, hashtag woman in gaming or hashtag gamehers, finding your community to have a safe space where you can speak about things and also find things that you would be interested in that maybe you hadn't known about before. So following amazing creators on all the platforms, not just, of course, TikTok, but all the platforms. Because when we support people who make content, whether that's games, streams, short form videos, visual novels, etc., they can make more of it. And I think that's, if I do nothing else on this earth, then help people make more amazing things and help get games or people and creators who are more representative to make more things, then I've achieved. Yeah.
I love that. And also, I mean, speaking of using games and content to make change, Jessica, I'm going to jump to you. World Reborn. First of all, I want to play it, so please, 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 like, give me keys, whatever you want. Like, we'll play it, we'll share it. I want to hear more about it. It just sounds really cool. And so, um, tell us about it. How does gameplay turn into action, right? And impact? Like, what kind of ripple effects are you seeing from just impact work like that? Oh no, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Oh,
Yes, there you are.
yeah. Okay, good. My 10-year-old just put her own ear pods in. to, and so I was like, oh no. So okay. World Reborn. Yeah, so I also would love you to play. So we just had our teaser launch. That was out for a
Oh
little bit.
no, it happened again.
Oh,
Okay.
do you hear me yelling at my daughter? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Great. Like, come off. Okay. So, World Reborn, what it is we had it out for a limited time. And in that time, we got to put it out into the US for a short time to have players test it. And we had to prove a couple things. For instance, that a game that does good in the world can also do good in the world and be super fun. And what World Reborn is it's a interactive story game with real world quests that you actually do in real life. So my background's in international peace building. I used to train young activists and movement leaders all around the world, and our whole mission is to empower the next generation to build a better world and live a happier life. And so you spend your energy making choices to save this other fantasy world, and the only way that you can get energy is by doing things that either feed your soul. So things that help your own mental health or help others or the planet. And those are brought to you by real world change makers. And so the ripple effect has been incredible in three ways. So on the fun factor, the feeling factor, and the impact factor. And so the fun factor is that there was so much skepticism that because our game hits just about every one of the UN SDGs, and people are like, people are not going to play it. They're not going to like this generation is not going to like it. It doesn't sound like fun. Well, I'm happy to say that our players quickly became obsessed, and it's been so much fun to watch. We have fan art, um, lots of fan fiction. Part of the game is depending on the choices you make within the game and the actions you choose to in real life will sort you on where your inner strengths lie. And so we have players basically creating art showing revealing their strength, and it's like based in positive psychology, and it's like so awesome. And then on the feeling side, we've had players not just say that they love the art and the story, but that the game is healing them, that it's changing how they show up in the world, that it's making them believe change is possible, and that 97% of our players say that our real world quests make them feel good. And then on the impact side, it's been like our players have actually been going out into the world and creating change. And so we've had over 7,000 players opt in to write notes to hospitalized kids. And you will cry reading them. Yeah, they were sending them poetry, sending them their own stories. It's just like The best thing, we had two amazing sponsors with Elf Beauty, who had mods around supporting women in sports, both young girls and legendary female athletes. And we had Discord support and Mayhem Mermaid supporting authenticity and mental health. So we're literally pushing our players into Discord to do pro-social behavior and practice gratitude and authenticity. Um, and beyond that, like, and even more, like Black Girl Gamers, Jan Lopez was featured in there. Our players were learning about misinformation, all the way to having, we had four inner city Boston kids share their story. We had military veteran talk about like how to come across dividing lines. And so the ripple effect has been amazing. And now we're kind of like we close the doors for a second because we're gonna take all of our learnings and make it better. And we're raising our Series A. So and then we plan to come out full launch in 2026. So make sure if you want to get on the wait list, worldreborn.com, go check us out. Shameless plug.
Absolutely, yes. And I can't wait to be on the beta or the next whatever the next
I'll send
round
you it.
is. So
I'll send you it. That's good.
thank you so much, Jessica. Speaking of making games, Miriam, you are disrupting and your company is disrupting the world of game making to make it accessible for really anybody who wants to make games. And so would love to hear from you with Breshna's AI text to game and no code feature with also, I can't believe 180K users. How are you seeing people use the platform to really tell their stories in gaming?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ali, for having me, and thanks everyone here for celebrating because I really do. I think everyone here is doing such amazing work. I feel like, with gaming, I've always had this imposter syndrome. I'm gonna say it because I didn't grow up to be like a hardcore gamer, and I never really identified myself as a gamer. And I mean, even academically, I come at this from spending 15 years working at the World Bank in education policy, working across 22 different countries in education. But the thing that has really brought me in was I did play games, right? And I think I realized that every time I played a game, there was always the New York City skyline and the yellow cab and the white dude. And often when I saw, even when I did see Urdu, like not even Urdu, Arabic script in a game, it was often you're shooting at the terrorists and there's Arabic in the background, right? And everything. So and I think that representation in gaming, yes, it'll come from more studios being diverse, but I really think truly that if you want to diversify the content within gaming, you have to democratize the process of game creation. It's as simple as that. I cannot tell the story of my neighbor. I could be a Pakistani girl living in Islamabad, and I cannot tell the story of the person living there. I can't even tell the story of my own sibling, let alone someone else, right? So I truly believe that um, what Canva did for design, what TikTok did for video, I think we want to do for video games, right? And I think that that's kind of the inspiration behind it. And I'll tell you two stories like how people are using it. It's been wild. We have 180,000 registered game makers, more than 2 million gameplays, games in any and every language. But one story just sticks with me is there was this dad, who wrote to us, and his wife passed away, and he had a 12-year-old daughter who started her period, and he did not know how to have a conversation with her about periods. So he went on the platform and made a period game where you're catching pads with a pair of undies and you're busting these menstrual myths. And he said that all of a sudden that conversation with his daughter became so much easier, and it was fun to talk about menstruation and menstrual health. And I mean, even now, like every time I talk about it, I just get the goosebumps because it's just one of those things that, like, everyone has a story to tell. And he put his own daughter's avatar in it, their own music, all of that. So it's really this idea that you can, on Breshna, it's like the Canva for video games. So we've done the coding for you. Yes, coding is awesome. And yes, making games is awesome, but not everyone wants to code. So Breshna actually means lightning in the Pashto language, which is my mother tongue. So video games at lightning speed. So often people are making games in 15 minutes. And what we're seeing mostly is edtech. So education is huge. Teachers are the biggest content creators. They've been creating content before content creation was cool. I feel like that teachers and students are in the hot seat of content creation. So we see geography games like match the flags with the countries, all of that. So there's like tile matching games, Super Mario games, your own Wordle, all of that. But now we're also seeing marketing games with brands and sports teams, and just like social impact games. So I feel like for me, this story is really, in the power of, if we democratize that process of content creation, if we just give it a flat learning curve. There's so many low code tools out there, but if you just completely flatten the learning curve, yes, you're going to get very simple games, but they spark so much joy, and that's kind of the journey we're on.
I love that story, Miriam. I mean, I think there are a lot of single parents out there who don't know how to talk to their kids, period. And not as a, no pun intended there. My daughter would probably be totally cringing right now if she was watching, which I think she is. So but with that, Miriam, in the beginning, you talked a little bit about, imposter syndrome, and Carmen, I know before pre-call, you were talking about that, and, it's such, it, it is a real thing, I think, just for anybody, right? And also, you know, as you are very involved in hiring, what kind of trends are you seeing shift within game studios, and what game studios need to adapt to if they want to keep that next generation of talent?
I think AI is on everybody's mind, and because it's unregulated and it's the wild, wide west out there, we're all thinking, what's going on? Where is it going? How is it being used? And how is it going to be abused, right? We've seen, especially in recruitment, and you've probably seen it out there on LinkedIn, there are flags being put up for content, that this is AI content or this is generated AI content. It is widely known that there are companies and or studios that are using AI to scrape applications for keywords and other things to be able to go through the myriad of applications that they're getting. Sometimes that is due to not having a recruitment department or having a department that is built out to review applications and that works for them. To be able to keep up with the ratio of applications versus role. And that's very important, especially now in consideration of where the unstable market is. The ratio is very high for applicants versus role. My studio, we do not use a applicant tracking system that scrapes resumes. It is a preferred method. We keep the human in HR. It does take us a lot longer to read every portfolio, everything on your social media, your application, to look at you as a human and the overall overarching person that you are, because I firmly believe that that piece of paper doesn't tell me who you are. That piece of paper is not going to be the conversation and be able to express your career goals, and what you're looking for in your next adventure, to start that conversation. But there are other ways to use AI as a tool. And speaking to a lot of the younger generation, you can see on that application or your resume very clearly if you've used AI. So being able to teach and express within coaching some of those techniques to be able to share with them how to recognize that is important. And then also being able to reflect, excuse me, what are the things you could do differently using that as a tool, right? Researching why you put X into your resume, even though it doesn't fit in the formatting, is important. So being able to translate AI as a tool and then making sure that you're using it for the wizardry that it is and understanding the why, and then choosing the right format of AI. Just because ChatGPT is popular, does that mean you should be using it? Google has their new notebook. Is that something that you want to use? Then also cybersecurity. What does that mean to you? And are you putting all your information out there and just plugging it into every dialog box and signing up for what's the next big thing? being able to make sure that biases come into play when you're utilizing these tools and putting your information out on the internet is really important. And making sure that you're able to back up the information that you're putting on that application. If ChatGPT is spitting out all these things at you, are you reading it? Are you proofreading it? Because ChatGPT or whatever AI that you're using can have mistakes. Those are just fundamental things that we all have learned over time the hard way because we didn't have AI. We were trial by fire. Someone probably told us, and not in a coaching way, about our format and our text wall or whatever the grammar issue was with our resume or our application, or maybe they didn't. And we had to learn like, oh, wait, the comma should have went there or whatever the case may be. And then also understanding one of the things that I've talked about in my blog is, especially with the market, the way this is, gap jobs. I'm a firm believer that gap jobs are not a negative. In today's market and coming in and out of the industry, you have to be able to provide for your family. You have to be able to provide for yourself. If you have a gap job, put it on your resume. That is something that you should be able to explain and discuss. And if someone that you're interviewing with feels that that is less than or making you feel bad about it, maybe you don't want to work for that company. You have to survive. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Take pride in who you are and doing the things that you need to do to be able to make sure that you are adequately taking care of your mental health and pushing through those boundaries and those challenges for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Thanks for the question, Allie.
No, thank you, Carmen. It makes me think a lot about how AI usage is going to impact everybody's jobs. And really, in the world today, I kind of feel like the term trailblazing doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing all the cool new things, right? Like I hate to say it, but I'm like the biggest like tech fiend. And so I always have to have like the newest thing and the newest stuff and, trying out the new, the new trends. But really I love the what you said about human and keeping human resources and keeping the human in human resources, because I think that that's extremely important regardless of the amount of time that it takes to actually read every resume. I mean, I think that's trailblazing, right? Like, to me, that makes a huge difference in everybody that you hire and also as you're building culture and making change and impact. And so, Senka, I'm going to throw to you next, and Susanna both, because you both are incredible humans and making amazing change in the world in what you're doing. And Senka, we met with when you worked for a previous company, and now you're with World Food Program USA, but you're building bridges between gaming and humanitarian aid. And it's very different in how nonprofits leverage the world of gaming, right? And like how Jessica's game is building a capability. I want to connect you both. Like, I hope you both connect after this and talk, because I'm seeing like so many, and Carla too, I'm seeing so many ways that you all can can collaborate. But Susanna, like, what's one campaign or what's one moment that proved gaming can truly like move the needle in real life and like in your world, like actually save lives?
Oh, wow. One moment. Well, I'm gonna say something that would validate it, right? This thesis and this idea that games can drive real world impact. And Senka, I think you were there. We were invited to to hold an event at the UN that would bring together the games industry with different UN agencies, as a way to help foster more opportunities. Jessica, you were there too for the first one, I think. and if people aren't aware that the UN has kind of like this framework around how they focus on different impact areas. They're called the Sustainable Development Goals, everything ranging from poverty to climate action to people and gender equity. And they're supposed to be hopefully achieved, the goal setting by 2030. So we were invited to hold this event at the UN to bring the games industry in to say, how can the games industry support? And there was such interest from the games industry side and from the UN side. It's like UN, people in often the Office of Innovation or partnerships, like where Senka sits now, there was such enthusiasm and they got it. Like if entities like the UN can recognize that games as a platform, as a distribution platform, as an engagement opportunity, as a training tool, as an educational moment, ways to address issues having to do with gendered equity, like, and that they're there. To me, that was a really validating moment. And meeting people like Senka, and we partner now with the World Food Program on a youth game design program. So that to me was like, really gratifying to see that the level of interest and collaboration at such a global scale.
Thank you, Susanna. And Senka, with you, what new initiatives are you doing with the World Food Program? And, and knowing your past experience, you've done so much with the international rescue. Like that, those initiatives that we worked on together were so impactful to us, especially as globally, our global audience needs help. And I think every day we're seeing, just tragedy all around the world that requires that. Share some of those moments that you've had where you've seen gaming really make a difference.
Yeah, thank you. First, thanks for having me on, and it's so great to engage in these conversations. And yeah, big shout out to Susanna and Games for Change too for bringing us together from the humanitarian sector with the gaming industry and other stakeholders in the gaming space, because we need that. As big and influential as the UN or any other organization can be, we still need a lot of help to get involved in something that's so new and different for us. And I'm so happy that that is happening in so many different ways today. And at the World Food Program USA and the UN's World Food Program globally, we're all in on gaming. So we're really looking to find every different way of engaging with gaming companies and gaming communities and through different games, to see how we can have that real world impact. And I think this industry and community has already proven time and time again just how powerful and impactful it can be, and it is, and it's, I hope, will continue to be in the future, because yes, we are facing a very difficult, unstable world, and there are a lot of people who are facing unimaginable humanitarian crises. So sometimes, like, I also think about the imposter syndrome, and I think I'm in the humanitarian sector. How am I part of this community? But it's just been so galvanizing to see the level of support we can get from gamers who leverage their passion and fun to actually do good. And it's possible to bring those two things together. So I think really in gaming, any activation can have real world impact, because we rely on the gaming community to help us garner funds that are directly having a life-saving impact on people in humanitarian settings. Like, there is no question about that. You are doing it. In the other ways are really about awareness raising. Yes, there's a lot in media, but there's also a lot that is ignored or forgotten. And it's through these partnerships that we're able to elevate those forgotten voices and forgotten crises and try to mobilize and inspire people to get involved and also take advocacy actions. So there's a whole slew of ways that gaming can have an enormous role and impact that we need in terms of partnerships. So there are many examples that I can think of. I think one of the first ones that came to mind for me was at the very beginning of the crisis in Ukraine, where we worked with Xbox on an opportunity that literally happened overnight. And that is something very, very difficult to do, given that they're a massive company. We were a massive humanitarian organization. There can be a lot of bureaucracy. But there was such determination to make this happen within, just a couple of days and launch a global campaign through their flight simulator game. And we did it. Like couldn't believe it, but it was just so inspiring and so incredible to see that this gaming company was one of the first to do a global campaign to try to do something in response to this crisis. And it had an enormous impact. We've raised uh, a mind-blowing amount of money, but also awareness and galvanizing of communities. People were doing live streams supporting it. So it was just such an incredible moment. And, I keep seeing these types of things with other gaming stakeholders. And all I can see, it's just impressive and inspiring to see such power and ability to do good.
It's and I'm just so blown away by the fact that I'm literally on a Zoom call with all of you. And when you talk about, power and woman in the same sentence, it's so cool. It's so cool. So I am I am that actually leads us to the next segment of today's show, which is the rapid fire one-liners. So everybody will have 30 seconds. Are we ready to answer these questions? I'm gonna actually I need some help making a game around this, and we definitely need to we need to click answers like a Jackbox game or something at some point. But um, I would love to hear what's one bold idea that you wish more people in gaming would run with in 2025. For me, it's almost over. I mean, we're at H2. Let's get into into 2026 planning. But over the next year, what's one bold idea you wish more people in gaming would run with? I'm going to start at the top of the lineup. Carla, go. Sorry.
No stress. I think it would be that seeing everyone as a gamer. So whether the person plays Candy Crush, Wordle, Scrabble, all the way to what we deem as more hardcore games, understanding that anyone who plays is a gamer. Not only will that open the audience and the industry and money that way for the industry, but I think it'll also just open the community and for people who see themselves differently. Yeah.
I love that. And Miriam, you said earlier that you used to not identify as a gamer. What is one bold idea that you wish more people in gaming would run with?
So I feel like building on Carla's, yes, everyone's a gamer, but then everyone can also be a game maker. That's where we're coming at it from. So leveraging video games to tell your own story. I think there's so much joy and ownership and pride that people feel in content creation, which we've seen from platforms like TikTok. So what if everyone could also be a game maker? So we're empowering the next 100 million people to tell their stories through video games.
I love that. Jessica, as a game maker already, what's one bold idea? Well, outside of World Reborn that we're all going to be playing, what's one bold idea for you?
Yeah, well, I think just like leaning into this idea of, games. I wish more people would see games as a vehicle to activate people to do things in the real world. And so obviously, like, yes, with World Reborn, but I do this idea there's always this evolution of media, whereas first like this passive experience of you watch the hero or listen to the hero, and then games are the next evolution where you get to actually play the hero. And now, like, let's take it into the new frontier where it allows you to actually become the heroes. You don't just watch the hero, play the hero, but you're actively becoming the hero. And that's what I hope more people start to turn to as a vehicle for making that kind of change.
That's amazing. And also just the idea of doing quests, real life quests while I'm gaming sounds so fun to me. So I'm really looking forward to that. Carmen, how about you? What's one big bold idea outside of, I mean, I hope that everybody in HR reads every resume from now on. I think that that should be a goal. But what's one other big, big bold idea?
I want to plus one to Jessica's comment because back when I first started gaming, when dinosaurs roamed the earth and there was Atari, you got into gaming for community and finding your people. And activism really wasn't necessarily a thing. It was on the forefront, right? We didn't necessarily have as many huge polarizing issues in the world, or we weren't aware. And when you think about things like Pokemon and other things where community is huge, you could go outside and you could see people just standing on the corner. You're like, what are they doing? And it was Pokemon or whatever the case may be. And if you think about this younger generation coming together and just doing that one thing, they're just waiting for something to spawn or populate. If you take activism and you put it in, like you said, a gamification, there is no thought process in doing the thing and coming together, but coming together. So if we were to take those two things and put them together and have them be a community, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So the one thing that I would want to happen is for communities to feel like they don't have to be segregated in gaming, right? Or gatekeep. Um, and I have experienced that myself where I am integrating into different communities, reaching out to be able to support, and they're scared of letting someone in because they've had a bad experience, and they don't want to let someone in because of that. And that's sad, that's sad that they feel that they have to be so closed off. And that's not what we all want, right? It's not what gaming is about. So I would love for that to change. The trust just isn't there anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And I think, the gamehers being a community of
Yeah.
gamers, and really focused on having everybody represented,
Mhm.
right? I think that that's a big deal, and that's something that we could all lean into for sure. Um, Senka, how about you? What's one big bold thing that we can do moving into 2026?
I mean, I think Jessica and Carmen touched upon a lot of what I would say too, in terms of using this passion for games and playing games and building that community to translate it into real world impact and taking those actions, as part of your gameplay. I think for me, honestly, like I don't know that I have some amazing bald idea, but I would love to see every game, whether it's big or small, to have some sort of a real world impact component. So even the big titles that, come out, and I know they're years in the making, I think they can do it too. And it is such a powerful tool that can be used for good. So I think that that's my thing, and I just encourage really, the gaming industry and the community to not shy away from these social issues. Gaming to me has always been such a a great space because I felt like the community and the industry wasn't afraid to tackle some of these issues. And I've seen a bit of a retreat. I've seen some of the social impact teams being dismantled at gaming companies. And I really hope that we see a reverse of that in the next year and lean back into that. And I think my ask to the community is don't let your favorite gaming companies that make your favorite games off the hook. They will listen to you, so demand that they continue to try to leverage their platforms for good in the world.
So well said. And Susanna, being, founding an organization that's literally titled Games for Change. And I'd love to hear from you in terms of what kind of change that you would like to see the world making in the next year.
Well, I love hearing that so many people are aligned with our mission and that games can make change. So if you asked me first, it would have come forward as a bold idea. Now it just sounds kind of derivative, but I'm going to frame it in a different way. There's this quote, what it's attributed to two different people. You can make your guess on who it's for. It's with great power comes great responsibility. Some people say it's Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, but it actually came from Voltaire. But when I think about the responsibility we have as game makers, game creators, publishers, even players, right? We're in this incredibly powerful, productive, global industry, and we have a responsibility for that, right? And it shouldn't just sit on the social impact team. Right? It shouldn't just sit in community management, right? It sits in all of us as humans. And that can play out in so many different ways. So just thinking about the honor that we all have to work in this industry or or aspire to work in this industry, that comes with, responsibility to give back, whether it's to the planet or to people, right? Or to furthering progress. I would kind of frame it that way.
So one, I thought that was beautifully said, Susanna, and thank you for, I didn't think that was derivative at all. So, well, and next, so I'm going to start with you on the next segment. And in terms of, I would love to do a little bit of a guided panel chat. And talking about, trailblazing. What does it look like when done in the community and not in competition?
Well, I would say a constant in my career, and I've been around for a while, is to me working with people and being open to partnerships and collaboration and respecting others' strengths is core to anyone's success. It's nearly impossible to do something on your own. And why? Whether it be super, super lonely, right? So somebody's success as a trailblazer is because of the partnerships, the support, the collaboration that you have with other people. And, and the idea that together you can make something bigger that you could on your own, and to recognize that and value and acknowledge people, right, who are part of your sphere and your ecosystem to help make the change and to lead the way, I would say.
Yeah. And Ali, just building on that, I think one of the coolest things is even right now, when you heard this conversation, right? Senka and Susanna are already talking. I already have, like, in my mind, a draft email for every single person on this call because I think exactly that. Like, there are so many overlaps in the work we do, and I think the cake only gets bigger with collaboration. So why do we have this Hunger Games mentality of fighting over a small piece of cake when the pie just gets bigger for everyone? So I feel like that's really something that we should approach it with. And you would be amazed at how many overlaps you find if you go with it with that lens of, hey, we can all work together.
There was this old sales like technique I was taught beginning of my career, and it was this idea of, someone's always going to win in a transaction. somebody who gets what they want and somebody who has to give up something. And that never made sense to me. And I was like, that can't be the way to operate in this world. It's together we can make something bigger. And to that point, like that's a very old school way of looking at things. And I hope people don't look at that way anymore.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because I said I come from the peace building world, and so we literally say like our whole lives that we've been taught in order to win, someone has to lose. And if you shift your objective from I'm going to make them lose, and instead you said I'm going to make them an ally, I'm going to solve a problem, and I'm going to prevent harm, it completely changes the way that you treat someone. And so it's interesting because my co-founder and I both come from Search from Common Ground, the world's largest peace building organization. And so we've applied the techniques of like conflict transformation, of this idea that conflict is just an indicator that there's a problem, but it's also an opportunity for improvement. It's an opportunity to fix that problem. And we've seen between the way that we work that we're very two different people, like right brain, left brain. Like we are very different, and things that we do together are always exponentially better than what we do on our own. And so we've tried to repeat that in our values as a company, like wicked saints. It's kind of like what, like the wicked part is actually nonconformity, that we don't have to do what's been done before, and we'll actually always challenge authority and status quo. But that only works if we're all aligned on our purpose. And if we can agree on our purpose and move towards our purpose, that's when that's when the magic happens. If all of these different perspectives get included and brought in, and you get something so much better. And so it's been really interesting because we come from a peace building background, not from a business background, but by applying these like conflict transformation, peace building, conflict resolution techniques, it's significantly helped us innovate on our business model, on our product, and just made a really productive team. So I'm always, rah rah collaboration. It's the way to go.
Yes,
Thank you.
and definitely the peace side for sure. It is important. Carla, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Ali. I think I'm originally from South Africa, and there's a word we have there called Ubuntu, which basically means I am because we are. And that for me is the epitome of this, is anything I can achieve, I only achieve because we achieved it, or someone else was there before me. And I think that's why the gamehers and all the work each one of us is doing, all the work the people in the chat are doing, just sometimes daily living in this time can be transformative and showcasing people what you can do. And when you can showcase it with someone else and showcase them to your audience and you to their audience, etc., it only makes that representation and that cake bigger. So I can only be because of you.
Carla, you just resonated a few things. I should say everybody resonated a few things with me. Being someone who is very passionate and advocates for a lot of things, but representation is the word I keep hearing. And I am not shy about saying that I'm neurospicy and represent the BIPOC community. And these are two things that intersect for me for various reasons. I have all the isms that you could possibly imagine. Colorism, being othered in a generation where it wasn't nice, it wasn't pretty, and you were also, there was only room for one woman in a male-dominated field of a lot of things. So there were a lot of things that I told myself to be able to cope with not fitting in or not being good enough. And I was always a person to stuff that down, but to persevere. And I wanted to set the example for my daughter because I didn't want her to end up taking those things and internalizing those. But I also wanted to try my best to be my best, which also caused more imposter syndrome. So in trying to do all of that, I would always say every mile marker reads to me built by many. And we're all sitting here because we built something. And being that I am, and we all are being the voice for others, if they can't see it, they can't be it, is something that a moniker that I use a lot. And hopefully by all of you watching us, this gives you validation to be exactly who you are. There is no right, wrong, or indifferent for you to make the choices that you're making. The only thing you need to do is learn the lessons that you're learning and take away the things that you need to change to be the better version of you from day one, because you're going to look back and see the lessons that you've learned. And they're your lessons. Nobody can take the things that you've learned from you.
That's so beautiful. I mean, I'm like trying really hard not to tear up. I'm a
Oh.
bit of a hard ass, and my team will tell you, like, but I will cry. I'm a crier. Like, I will drop tears in like a heartbeat. And just everything that you all have talked about has just resonated so much. And you know, at the gamehers, we're truly all about collaboration. And so, you know, building an ecosystem where we can all thrive and grow together and build together is so important to us as a community. And also, you know, the fact that you all have been part of the awards and winners and trailblazers, it's because of all of that, right? And so I look forward to one, making sure that everybody here gets an opportunity to collaborate together, because I just see so many interwoven webs of amazingness happening, just from that. And then also just kind of to wrap us up with our last 3 minutes together, but not our last 3 minutes together, because like I said, we have so much more to discuss and talk about. But let's do just a quick one word checkup. Like, what are you all manifesting for gaming over the next 12 months? Carmen, let's start with you.
Wow, what am I manifesting? That's a loaded question. I am manifesting positive movement forward. That's
Thank
a
you.
huge bucket, but it'll do.
It'll do. It'll do. Miriam.
I'll go with abundance. I think there's always been a mindset of scarcity, and I think I'm manifesting all of us winning in abundance.
That's amazing. I'm totally stealing that, along with neurospicy, Carmen, because I thought that was awesome. Jessica.
I'm gonna say kindness. World's pretty rough. I think a lot of us have reasons to be angry and lash out, and science shows us when we use shame, we actually just push people farther away. And so, love us to manifest kindness even when we're feeling spicy for other reasons. So,
Thank you, Jessica. Senka.
I would say courage. Courage not to step back from what is happening in the world and um, have the confidence to do and know that anything you do, any action you take, can make a difference. And I don't mean that at all in some fluffy way, like, we can all make a difference, but actually we can. And I see it all the time in my work. So be courageous and push for this, in any way you can.
Thank you. Susanna.
I'm going to say, and I have to explain it, alignment. So, like, if we're manifesting alignment, whether it's between our values and our work, innovation, like an impact, like and the potential of games and so many things that we talked about, and the urgent needs, like values, purpose, design, like if you can align those, passion, then like meaning like change is limitless.
And we're all winning, right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Carla.
Can I just say Ubuntu again? One word, and just I'm manifesting that in the next year, the industry, the players, the people are surrounding it, we come together and we build it for what we want it to be, and we build it for each other and not just ourselves.
Yes.
Can I just say really quick that so we have 5 character strengths in our game that you show what you like, depending on the choices, it shows what you are. And an Ubu rider, which comes from Ubuntu, is one of our core strengths in our game. So you said it one time, I'm like, let it go, Jess, but you said it twice. So
No.
it's one of many. So I'll have to send you the full like list of character strengths under Ubu for our game. So
Please do. And when I play the game, and if that's my character strength, I'm gonna send it to you.
yes, good.
And we will share that out on the gamers channels as well. So thank you all so much. I mean, this was so much fun. We're 1 minute over. I'm super proud of myself because I literally could have taken us till 10 o'clock tonight, which Carla, thank you for being in Dubai and waking up at 3 a.m. to be on the call with us today. And I will reach out to each one of you, make sure everybody has everybody's contact information, and let's connect. Let's keep doing the most awesome things that we're all doing, and let's do it together because
Thank you, Ali.
so much fun. Thank
you,
you.
Carla.
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye all.